Yep.
What was day one like for you?
It was cold out there. Never thought I'd say I missed Texas weather. No, but it was good. It was good to be back out there. Not working out anymore, just practicing, playing football. I like that a lot more than working out, so it was good to get back out there.
Seems like you're a laid-back dude when you talk. I mean, there's not a whole lot of energy, but we were watching you dance out there. I mean, you had tons of energy out there.
Yeah, no, I just love playing football. It's just good to be back out there. It's my last go-around, so I'm just trying to enjoy it as much as possible and enjoy the guys. So that's kind of my goal for the spring is just enjoy it, have fun, and I'm taking one practice at a time.
Deion just called you Baker Mayfield Jr. because of your energy.
I don't know about all that, but I just like playing football. I love playing football. I've been playing for a long time. It's just I'm passionate about the game. I love playing. So.
How excited are you to be able to play in the SEC? Kind of an upgrade.
Yeah, no, it's kind of a dream come true. I've always dreamt about playing in this league, and excited about the opportunity, excited about the challenge. So, just again trying to take it one day at a time.
What do you think about the group of wideouts you're working with right now?
Yeah, they're great. Got some young guys, got some old guys, got some veterans that can bring those young guys along, and I think they gel well together. I think they're all getting along very well. I enjoy working with them. They're all great guys, and it's been fun working with them over the winter conditioning. And I think we'll continue to get timing with the DBs covering them now. I think when you're doing routes on air, it's a little different. But as far as the first day, I thought it went well. So. Yeah, I mean, you kind of get it just because I'm old and I played a lot of football, but, I think that's my job is to come in and be the leader of this team and, just bring guys along and just, push this process along. So it's kind of a part of playing the position. So.
Obviously, a big start here this weekend. How have coaches communicated that situation with you and what would happen if he decides to come here?
Yeah, no, that recruiting is their job. I haven't talked to any of them about it. Recruiting is their job, and my job is to be the best player I can be every single day and bring this team along, and that's what I'm going to do. That's my job. Competition is competition. There's competition everywhere you go. So I'm just here to do anything and everything I can to help this team win games, and that's what I'm going to do. So.
What were your thoughts on coaching?
Tuesday edition. It's our March 5th edition of On the Hill with Pat Jenkins Sports Talk Radio as we come to you live each and every day, Monday through Friday from 1 to 2 p.m. here on OTH. And we came in with audio from grad transfer Ben Hicks, Arkansas. Lucky to have Ben. It's when you think about last year's quarterback room, a lot of uncertainty and a lot of uneasiness if you're an Arkansas Razorback fan. And for the most part, I know it was real tough for Coach Craddock, Coach Morris, and that staff last year, trying to, come up with, some adequate quarterback play. But, through attrition and addition, Arkansas was able to add another grad transfer, Nick Starkel. It's going to be transferring from Texas A&M and playing his final 2 years of collegiate football here in Fayetteville for Coach Chad Morris. Not too surprising for Coach Morris and staff as they recruited Nick Starkel during their time at SMU out of League City High School. But, we'll go over to my co-host real quick, Demetrius. Ben Hicks in this quarterback room for just the knowledge that he has for Coach Morris's offense. Now, Coach Morris told us last week that, Ben still has some room to grow, but how important was that not only to get one grad transfer, but to get two guys that has to shore up that room and have major competition in that, don't you think?
Definitely, I think getting Nick Starko keeps Ben Hicks on his heels. I think if you were Ben, you're kind of coming in thinking that, I have a pretty good shot of getting a starting job. But I think now it adds a little bit more pressure and just brings a little bit more edge to the competition.
Them got up, got a really big lead, and, he goes down to injury. Kellen Mond has to be inserted into the ball game, and UCLA makes a very, very memorable comeback in that ball game. And like I said, it's just another, testament to. It's just going to be a big-time who's who. Notice Arkansas will have the top three running backs in the state of Oklahoma taking their trips to the university, and it's really impressive, Demetrius, when you see Coach Morrison's staff be able to put together, a list of so many kids that have such an interest in a program that's not had a lot of success. But we want to get you set up because we got a really good show today. I'm going to talk fastest 40 game keys. Arkansas travels to Vanderbilt to take on the Commodores tomorrow night on the SEC Network. And we caught up, want to talk more recruiting. That's a big topic, as all fans want to know how things are going. When you have the season Arkansas has and you're as young as Arkansas is in the fastest 40, you want to know, are we going to get older? Who's some of the bigs? That's a point of emphasis with this recruiting staff. We're going to talk to AR Hoops and Hogville.net's Kevin McPherson, and then we're going to have on a special guest and a good friend of the show, Barry Booker, SEC analyst for the SEC Network. We'll be calling tomorrow evening's Arkansas Vanderbilt game. Barry's done a lot of Arkansas basketball games this year, so we thought we'd have him come on and talk about this young team, talk about the SEC, and a multitude of things. And even so, hear a lot of talk of Coach Anderson. We'll get his take on just the job that Coach Anderson has done during his time as the Arkansas head hog. But we want to step away, get a real quick break, and get this thing started. We caught up with Mason Jones, sophomore shooting guard, had a really big game this past weekend. Mason's going to talk about just his adjustment coming off the bench and just the team's attitude. And we'll come back with Kevin McPherson following that. It's On the Hill with Pat Jenkins on KDSJ 479.
Figured out, okay. Hey Mason, those 6 threes you hit the other day, I know that was the most you've hit this year. Do you know, is that the most you've ever hit in a game in high school or JUCO, or?
No.
Most, or you don't know?
No, it's not the most.
What's the most, and who was it against?
10. It was in JUCO against Eastern Oklahoma on the road.
You don't have to give me the date if you don't want to. But to do 6 in an SEC, and plus they fouled you on one, you got 2 more points. You really got 20 points off threes. Just what kind of zone were you in? Because I know a couple games earlier you were struggling to hit threes.
Just taking the right approach of coming off the bench. So for me to take the right approach, it really just helped my game, knowing that I could still do the things I did starting coming off the bench. So for me, doing that mentality, getting it the right way, it helped me a lot.
Well, yeah, the first couple games, because you started at 25 or 26 or whatever, what kind of adjustment was it coming off the bench? And some guys, they don't handle that too well. It looks like you've taken to it okay. What's that been like for you?
It's been different, but like I said, like my mom always tells me, God has a plan for everybody. So it's just an adjustment period for me, and I'm just getting adjusted for it. So for me to come off the bench, helping the bench with scoring, it's good for the team.
Mike Anderson said he still considers you a starter. You played 29 minutes, so you played starters minutes. I mean, do you just look at it like maybe you're just getting to the game a little later?
Yeah, just a little later. Just see where I can get my shots from, see where I can help the team, see the little things that the starters don't see that I can see on the bench.
I guess the Vanderbilt game here is pretty well down to the wire. Just kind of what do you remember of that game and Vanderbilt's team?
Vanderbilt had a really good team. Their offensive sets kind of gave us a little problem in the first game. So just coming in, I know Coach A going to get us ready for their sets today. But remembering that game is Keyshawn Emery hitting a big shot for us to win the game for us. So for him to hit that and get us a win at SEC, it was a good win.
Lately, they've kind of struggled shooting the three, but they have a good three-point potential. Does that concern you at all after what Auburn did?
Yes, a little bit, yes. Because we knew Auburn was a good team, a good shooting team, but the way they shot at Auburn, at the crib, anybody is potential to shoot like that in SEC. So Vanderbilt, we just got to make sure we don't take them for granted.
17 in a row, their own 16. Rick Barnes, a Tennessee coach, said, hey, they're going to beat somebody. I know you don't want it to be you. Just, is there extra pressure when you're playing a team that's got a long losing streak and they've been coming close? And, man, you don't want to be the team that they finally get over the hump against?
Yeah, we don't want to be that team at all. And see, I know, they're 0-15? They're 0-16. Like Coach Rick Barnes said, they're going to beat somebody. And we don't want that to be us. But like I said, we don't want to take them for granted. We want to make sure we come in and do what we need to do to get a W because we're still in the hunt for something.
You feel extra pressure playing a team that's so desperate, and you don't want to be the team that loses to them. Is that extra pressure?
Look.
Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. It's our Tuesday edition of On the Hill with Pat Jenkins Sports Talk Radio, and it's now time to talk a little fastest 40. We always like to talk recruiting as well. It's a really important time in Arkansas basketball program with Coach Mike Anderson and staff as they're vigorously trying to solve a lot of the slight issues to get this team back up to the expectations level, not only for the fan base, for that coaching staff as well. So we thought we'd catch up with our good buddy of AR Hoops and also Hogville.net. Kevin, welcome back to the Hill, my man.
Hey, Pat. Good to be with you, my friend.
It's always good to have you on, Kevin. You stay consistently busy. When I'm not talking to you here on OTH, I'm not seeing you at the Razorback basketball games, doing a great job covering those guys. You're out on the recruiting front, talking to multiple kids. How are things going on the recruiting trail? As you know, Kevin, it never stopped for you.
Yeah, well, you know what? This is the first weekend in a while. Arkansas is going to have an official visitor. Javon Franklin's scheduled to come in this weekend. Arkansas will, they play Vanderbilt tomorrow night, but their final regular season game, they host Alabama this weekend. And Javon Franklin, the 6'7" combo forward out of Little Rock Parkview, he played as a freshman last year at Holmes Community College, the same school that produced Daryl Macon. But this year he broke his leg in the first game, and he's redshirting, so he's been, trying to rehab and recover from that. So he's going to have 3 years to play three because he sat out. Arkansas has always been one of his favorites, and he finally comes on campus for an official visit. I know Penny Hardaway and Memphis are hard after him. He played for Penny, Team Penny on the grassroots circuit, and of course Ole Miss and Auburn are involved, Seton Hall, some other schools. But as recruiting picks up, really after offers go out, the next thing is to get him on campus, and that starts this week. Like I said, with Javon Franklin. Before the injury, one of the bounciest, freakiest athletes I've ever seen, an excellent player around the basket, but he spent a lot of time last spring and summer, Pat, working on his handles and his mid-range shooting and his three-point shot, and you could see the difference. He's a guy that, to me, could be if he gets fully recovered, a weapon inside and out, and Arkansas could really use that, especially 6'7" and bouncy, because he could be that guy maybe that they wanted Adriel Bailey to be, or maybe the Keaton Miles guys that didn't quite have the skill level. Right. Javon Franklin to me is an upgrade in some of these things that they've been missing.
A young man we talked about last week, and he just continues to gain more and more steam when mentioned and linked with Arkansas is Jalen McCrary. The young man had a tremendous weekend this past weekend. I believe they were able to win the championship in their classification. But talk about that interest and how are things going? Because you hear so much about Jalen, and each and every time you read about him, he's mentioned in Arkansas. How are things to this point with the Hogs?
There have been some quiet stretches there. I know T.J. Cleveland had tried to go watch him play a couple of times, and it didn't work out, and finally he did get to see him play. There's a period of time there where Jalen has considered reclassifying to next year, and that may still be a possibility. But, DePaul recently offered him. He's got an offer from Xavier, South Florida, and Charlotte. Pittsburgh really likes him. South Carolina's looking at him, Georgia, and Arkansas. And lately, Arkansas's interest had picked back up a little bit. I know T.J. Cleveland last week, Jalen told me they called to talk to his mom. And so usually when they keep the feelers out and they're branching out and talking to family, and at some point the interest may pick. I think the interest has picked up, but it may pick up enough steam where Arkansas gets him on campus. We'll see. That hasn't happened yet, but that's a possibility.
It seems to me the strong candidates through my conversations has been McCreary, has been Raymond Hawkins, Trey Mitchell, guys like Sean McNeil. These seem to be, some of the more guys and Frenchie, the guys that they're aggressively recruiting. Out of those guys, Kevin, who do you think Arkansas, and what are the chances, of each one to maybe getting that official visit and having an even more extensive chance of becoming a Razorback?
Right. Yeah, it's a great question. I'll throw in another name, Jalon Pipkins, that T.J. Cleveland's been out to see a couple of times. Another 6'4" JUCO, shooting guard. I think the fact that Arkansas is casting a wide net it ups their chances of getting 2 or 3 guys on campus. I wouldn't be surprised to see 4 signings this spring, as many as 4. And so, maybe a big or 2 and a wing or 2. But I think, obviously Javon Franklin, I mentioned him, that'd be one guy. But all those names you mentioned, I thought if Arkansas can get 3 or 4 of those guys on campus, you like their chances of landing 2 or 3 of them. And so, I think they're hitting the right places in terms of need and to get older like they targeted. But I'm not sure which one of those guys really stands out right now. Until we get some announced visit plans, it's just a guessing game.
When you look at this basketball team, we were in attendance on Saturday. I thought personally myself, Kevin, it was a team I thought in the crunch time finally was able to stick together and make plays. Coach Anderson had been talking multiple post games about his team and that immaturity kind of rearing its head the last 5 minutes in. What were some of the things that you took away that you could feel good about? Because I also agree with Coach. I don't think this team's played its best basketball to date.
Yeah. Well, really, when I look at the last 2 games, what they did at Kentucky and then what they came home and did against Ole Miss, those are 2 good opponents. And Arkansas, the game plan against Ole Miss from the start, I really liked. I thought Arkansas finally started moving the ball like they were doing earlier in the year and letting the ball movement make the defense work before attacking. And then Arkansas had a size advantage in the backcourt. I thought Arkansas's guards did a good job of driving the ball. We see Jalen Harris has struggled so much with that wide-open three-point shot, and he's really been pressing. This game, he turned those looks down, put the ball on the deck, and got to the rack. Got 3 or 4 from the field. You can't argue with that, and it was all close in, plus the game winner. 9 assists, 1 turnover. Look at what Mason Jones did shooting the ball. I thought Isaiah Joe did some good things. And I think Desi Seals, I think Arkansas's backcourt came in and Ole Miss had one of the best backcourts in the league, and Arkansas did a great job on defense of forcing those guys off the three-point line. One of the top three-point shooting teams held them to 6 of 22 from there and forced them to score in the mid-range. And Ole Miss had success doing that, but guess what? I take, your defense giving up 2 over 3 is going to help you.
Right.
But I think the other thing is not just the game plan and execution in both halves. At the end, you still got to find a way to win a close game, and that's where execution can break down. And this young team, we've seen it so many times, and they didn't in this case. They outscored Ole Miss 4-0 in the final minute. They got 2 scores and 2 stops, and that they had to have them.
Anything can happen, as we all know, in collegiate athletics. In Arkansas, with the 2 games at Vanderbilt, closing out here at home with Alabama, it's kind of safe to say it's going to be really hard pressed for this basketball club this year in 2019 to make the NCAA tournament. Going to the NIT, is that a bad thing, or because I'm of the belief any type of extra basketball postseason that this team can get can only help the growth. Also, too, if they're able to go and get some of those JUCO guys that they covet. Where are you at with that, Kevin?
Yeah, I agree. If any postseason basketball this team can earn, they need to take full advantage of the NIT. Listen, the NCAA tournament, they don't have to win the SEC tournament, I don't think, to get in. Right. I think if they win, they'd have to win these last 2 games. There's no guarantees, but they need to win those. And I think they could win by winning 2 games in the SEC tournament. They'd be on the bubble.
Right.
Win 3 in the tournament just to make it to the finals, and I think they'd punch their ticket. They'd be 20 wins. I don't think they'd need to win that championship game.
Right.
I think it is a bit of a stretch, but look, Arkansas had a 4-game winning streak in SEC play. That included a win on the road against a top 10 team in LSU.
Correct.
And we've seen how they played at Texas Tech and at Kentucky, 2 more top 10 net teams.
Good point.
So I think they're capable of putting a run together like that. Remains to be seen whether or not they do, Pat.
Well, as always, Kevin, love having you on. We'll continue to talk as we'll come back toward the end of the week and discuss even more Fastest 40 and hopefully have a lot more options with this basketball team. But as always, thanks for taking time out on the Hill, my man.
Always enjoy being with you, Pat. Thank you, sir.
All right. That was Kevin McPherson of AR Hoops, also of Hogville.net. Does a great job. I mean, an absolute outstanding job covering basketball recruiting for all listeners and viewers that want to know what's going on in the Fastest 40 world of Razorback basketball. But we also caught up with Coach Anderson, and he's going to preview the upcoming road game versus the Vanderbilt Commodores. And then following Coach A, color analyst for the SEC Network, Barry Booker, he'll be joining us. It's On the Hill with Pat Jenkins on KDSJ 479.
I'm sure they'll voice their opinion to me about it, but but now we're in, I think, week the 10, 11, 11th week of, there was 2 games each week. I mean, so it's so we finish. It seemed like we're just getting ready for El Paso, and now you're talking about the last week of the regular season. And obviously, you want to continue to play good basketball, and we want to string some games together where our guys can play at a high level, confident, offensively, defensively, be efficient. And I think I just see more guys now having a much better understanding of their roles, and you just and you could just see it on display in the Ole Miss game. I thought it was a game that went back and forth against a very good basketball team, and our guys they hung in there and talked about making plays in games that are going to in SEC play. SEC play, it's a thin line between winning and losing, and so it was good to see us actually make plays defensively, offensively, and made some big free throws. Dan made a couple of big free throws going down the stretch. So hopefully we can continue to take that mindset into playing against a Vanderbilt team that we played early in the year, and we made a shot there at the end and had a defensive stop there to win here. It's a team, obviously, space is really, really important in their offensive scheme. Shoot a lot of threes. They get to the basket. We got to do a really good job of finding the shooters and forcing them off the line at the same time, keep them out the paint and keep them off the free throw line. So, and then on the offensive end, we've got to continue to execute offensively. Dan had a big game against them. We thought we had an advantage, and we took advantage of getting the ball into him inside, and he was able to make some plays. But we're gonna have to make some shots as well as be good defensively for 40 minutes, and that's got to be the key for 40 minutes.
Wow, it's an upset. Just with Vanderbilt's ability to shoot the three and the problems Auburn gave you, just kind of what's the concern about three-point defense for this game?
I think it's got to be going in. It's got to be the primary goal is to keep them off the line. I think they also do a good job of getting to the hole and spacing the floor and screening roll and cutting to the basket. We got to be with the shooters, and we got to force them off the line. We did a pretty good job here. I thought there in the second half, I thought we lost guys.
Welcome back. It's our Tuesday edition of On the Hill with Pat Jenkins Sports Talk Radio. It's our March 5th edition of On the Hill. And want to real quick give a shout out to our sponsors, Lindsay and Associates, with an office location in Fayetteville and office location also too in Rogers. The Baymont Hotel, it's located at 735 South Shiloh Drive, Locomotion, located just below the Northwest Arkansas Mall. And lastly, our newest sponsor, Corey Beck's Custom Painting. But we want to continue on, and the main thing is our special guest will be calling tomorrow night's tough road trip as Arkansas will be making their way to Vanderbilt. And we want to bring on SEC color analyst Barry Booker. Barry, welcome to the Hill, my man.
My pleasure. Good to be on with you.
Barry, talk about this Arkansas basketball team. You've had the privilege over the years to call a lot of Coach Anderson's team's ball games. What have you seen with this version of the Fastest 40, in your opinion?
Well, I think it's a talented group. Obviously, with Daniel Gafford inside, you got a good point guard in Jalen Harris, and then the two good shooters, Isaiah Joe and Mason Jones. But I think one of the problems with this team, I think there are several, but one of them is that power forward position just is not being very productive, not providing very many rebounds, not somebody that plays that position who can shoot the basketball, and that if there was a shooter at that position, that would really open things up inside and give Gafford more room to operate. So that's the power forward spot. Defensively, the team really has a hard time, with the trapping and things they try to do. with defensive pressure, they end up giving up a lot of open shots and also giving up a lot of rebounding opportunities. This team doesn't rebound well at all. Also, so I think those are the three big issues, and the reason the Hogs haven't had a better season this time around. Even though the talent seems to be there.
When you look at this basketball team, I know you mentioned Isaiah Joe. What must Isaiah do really to take that next step? It seems like, there's been a few games throughout the conference season that he just it seems like he's had a little bit of trouble getting open. Is that some of the progression that you think has to take place with him being able to learn to move more without the basketball in the upcoming SEC seasons?
Yeah, it is. It's that consistency is the next step. First, you see a player that has ability and talent, and he obviously has that. And the next thing you want to see is that consistent production. That even though teams begin to focus on a guy that's starting to be productive, that he can still consistently make plays. And I think that is the next step for Isaiah Joe to get to a point where if teams are and defenses are really trying to take away his three-point shot, that he can put the ball on the floor, get in the lane, create plays for himself or his teammates, which will cause him to back off a bit, and then he can get back into doing what he does so well, knocking down those long jump shots.
Barry, you've watched Daniel, his freshman and now into his sophomore year. Assess Daniel Gafford, in your opinion, as to where he is and what's his projection. And I know a lot of people here in the natural state assume that he'll be moving on. In your opinion, is he ready to take that next step? And if so, where do you think he'll go on draft day?
Yeah, I think he is. All the projections that I see are that he will be a lottery pick this time around. And with that sort of projection, I think that means you're ready. You're going to get picked that high. You're ready to go. Get that 3 years of guaranteed millions of dollars a year. But it's going to take him some time. Certainly the ability to score away from the basket. He still doesn't shoot free throws well, which that goes along with the ability to hit shots away from the basket. So that's going to be the key to his game, just how quickly he can develop the shooting stroke. And I think it's there. I think he has that ability, some technique things that he does from the foul line that will help him there. And similarly, he'll get more comfortable shooting the jumper just in the flow of an offense, in the flow of a game.
Talking with Barry Booker, SEC color analyst. We'll be calling tomorrow night's Vanderbilt Arkansas game. I want to get into that game, Barry. You did the first game several weeks ago. I believe it was 3 weeks ago in Bud Walton Arena. A very tight game, which came down. I believe Keyshawn Embry-Smith hit that big shot and made a critical defensive play. And going into tomorrow night's game, what must Arkansas do to not be that team? To be Vanderbilt's first conference win.
I think in this case, it's just a matter of scoring about 70 points. Vanderbilt I think they're a different team. They have really worn down as this season has gone along, and they are not as good as they were a few weeks ago when that game was played at Bud Walton Arena.
Right.
And I'm going to be surprised if Vanderbilt can get above 65 points. So I think for Arkansas, it's get the pace of this game as high as they can possibly get it, try and generate as many points as possible, just try to outscore this Vanderbilt team, try to wear them down, use their depth. I think that's going to be the key for the Hogs in this game. That's a style that Arkansas is very comfortable playing, and I think they're going to come into Nashville and leave here with a win.
Across the country, a lot of national media are saying the SEC is down this year. In your opinion, to me, I think it's a young league. I don't think for a lack of talent. I just think it's a lot of attrition with guys being one and done. But when you see the SEC, where will is the future bright for this conference?
I think the future is extremely bright, and I think this is a high watermark for the SEC. I don't think it's. I don't think it's down in any way. I think this is one of the better years that this league has had, especially in the last 15 years or so. And I really go back to the 80s when most teams had juniors and seniors on their roster.
Right.
I think that's the last time this league was as talented as it is right now. I think the coaches are really good. The guys that have come into this league the last 3 or 4 years are really strong, and the talent level. Think about Tremont Waters and the star level player that he is for LSU.
Right.
Tennessee with Grant Williams, maybe 2-time SEC Player of the Year. Kentucky's the team that I'm probably most surprised with. I saw them in November, and they didn't look very good at all.
Good point.
And now they're tracking toward being a 1 seed. South Carolina playing great in SEC play, but they're probably not going to make the tournament just because of how poorly they played in non-conference play. Mississippi State, the talent they have on that roster is phenomenal, especially with their big guys. I think you can go on down the list. You get down to Missouri, Georgia, Vanderbilt. Those 3 teams aren't very strong, but otherwise, and even Vanderbilt, they have played some teams really well, especially at Memorial Gym. They're not easy to beat in that place. So I think the league is extremely strong right now, and the prospects for the future are very bright.
The topic that continues to come up in this state, Barry, and you had a chance, I believe, to play against a Nolan Richardson coached basketball team during your time playing at Vanderbilt in the SEC. You were there Saturday. It's widely known that the fan base is starting to gain ground with Nolan Richardson having his name on the court. I, for one, being an African-American man, I grew up in the era of Nolan, and the 3 figures that I always knew was Chaney, Thompson, and Richardson. Where are you at? Should the University of Arkansas name that court after Nolan Richardson, not only just for what he did in Arkansas, but what he's done at Tulsa and in the junior college range? What's your opinion on that, Barry?
Yeah, I think that would be wholly appropriate. I think he is the figure in Arkansas basketball that is the greatest figure with the national championship. You think about Eddie Sutton. I think he would be another coach, another person. Frank Broyles would be another person I think of if you're thinking about naming the court after somebody. I think those would be the 3: Coach Sutton, Coach Broyles for his time as athletic director, and Coach Richardson. So I think it would be very appropriate. I'm just so glad to see that Coach Richardson is back involved in the program. That coming to games again, it was really disappointing during that stretch when he did not have that good relationship with the university and wasn't around the program. So I'm just glad to see it's gotten to that point where you have that great environment in there on Saturday, and the university community can celebrate him, can celebrate the accomplishments of that '94 team. I think that's kind of the most important thing. Court naming situation, I think that would be great, but not something that would, if the university decided not to do that, I certainly wouldn't feel too bad about that. But it'd be great if they did decide to move that direction.
Well, Barry, I love the job that you do. I'll catch up because, as always, I'm pretty sure they'll have you in Fayetteville this Saturday calling Alabama and the Arkansas game. But as always, my man, look forward to your commentary tomorrow night, and thanks for taking time out on the Hill, my brother.
Hey, my pleasure. And yeah, I'm just about becoming the voice of the Razorbacks because it will be the last 3 games of this season that I'll be on the air with the Hogs. I'll be back in Fayetteville for Alabama and look forward to that one too.
All right. Well, have a blessed one, my man.
Thanks a lot. Take it easy.
That was Barry Booker of the SEC Network. We'll be calling tomorrow's Arkansas Vanderbilt game. Has a lot of insight to Coach Anderson in this very young, fastest 40 version. As he's, like I said, he may be the spokesperson and the voice, Demetrius, because it seems like each and every time I'm in the gym covering, Barry's there right at tableside calling each and every important play in those ball games. But we're going to step away real quick. We caught up with Scooter. He's going to be the defensive leader for this football team under Coach Mo in year 2019, and maybe the overall emotional leader of this football team as a whole. But we caught up with Scooter, and this is what he had to say the first day of spring football.
Get a lot of the young guys some rep, just the basics of it. I think tomorrow might get after it a little bit.
So many new faces out there. I mean, what's it feel like?
I feel a lot different. More younger guys, a lot of guys who don't have that much experience. But I mean, today was a pretty fun day. They didn't have that many mistakes like I thought they'd have, so it was pretty good to me.
What's it like not having Greenlaw next to you?
It's different. Played a lot with Bumper last year, so it's not that much of a difference. But once Bumper come on and somebody else come in, I actually feel a difference.
All those new guys, is there sort of a new energy that they bring?
Yeah, most of the young guys are energetic, self-starters. They come out there with a good vibe. So they kind of get the day started for us, get it going, and I like that. Probably don't see him back into the fall camp.
It's kind of just a race last year. What's kind of the message to start this new year, so to speak?
It's just brand new, everything. Just a restart into the whole program. We started off, the spring, earning our gear back. Just try to get back to what's everybody why we doing it. Set the foundation into the program, for the future.
What else have y'all earned back now?
What you say?
What else have you earned back?
We earned everything back from our workout clothes. That's all we had to earn was the sweatshirts, the shorts, the shirt, and the sweatpants. That's all.
What's it like to see a coach out there in a plain gray sweatshirt just says Morris on the back?
It's good, it's just when everybody out there, we get tired, just think back, from when we didn't have nothing, we had to earn everything, keep us motivated and get going through the tough times.
So you guys have earned everything back and he hasn't yet?
Well, everybody in the staff had to wear the jumpsuits, but they just wear it just because, but we not wearing it again.
What'd the offense look like just from what you saw going against?
They more speed today. They try to up the tempo on the first day. I ain't see that many mistakes on that side of the ball either, so that's a positive on both sides, so they look pretty good today. Yeah, he didn't tell us nothing. I think we focus on that and coming in back into this season, just trying to, have a lot of energy, self-starters, and in the workouts, and we brought that to the field, so that was a good thing too.
What time do you guys going tomorrow? Is it more gear, full gear?
Nah, tomorrow I think it'll be the same type of practice. I think we come here at 8:50. Probably won't hit the field till about 10. Yeah, I do. I was feeling through the workouts some knick-knack injuries. I'm feeling pretty old right now.
Coach Davis said one thing he wanted to do in the spring was not to beat you up. I mean, what does it mean to kind of be in that spot and earn that spot?
It feels good. We kind of had to talk after the Missouri game. We went out to eat. He told me, if I was to come back, how this spring would go for me. Less contact, more working on, on the things that I got back from the league. More of that, like pass coverage and stuff like that, and rushing.
I think this is Andrew Parker's first spring ball. Is this kind of...
Welcome back. It's on the Hill with Pat Jenkins Sports Talk Radio, coming to you live each and every day here on KDSJ 4791. Monday through Friday from 1 to 2 p.m. And we let you hear from Scooter, some of his thoughts for the young guys, how practice, for those guys that didn't hadn't played, his getting used to being without Dre Greenlaw, also too, how he feels about having Bumper Pool. I think it's going to be a good defense. I really think this is going to be a good, solid defensive team. A lot of maturity, I think, in football, Demetrius, and I've always been a big proponent of this. You got to be real strong up the middle, and I think that's what Arkansas is with T.J. Smith. They're going to be strong with Scooter, and I really think being up the middle solid with Cameron Curl. You're talking about senior, junior at the three levels, and then they're going to be a lot faster. It's what I feel with this football team. I think the wide receivers are going to be a lot bigger. I know Chad's been on them about catching the football. We've heard from Ben Hicks. I think Ben's maturity level will spread throughout that offense. Where are you at with, how this team should fare? I know this is going to be their third practice since they practice Saturday, no media availability, but from all intents and purposes, Demetrius, this Trey Knox and some of these freshmen are as advertised as far as the physical makeup.
Yeah, I think that's really what's going to be the highlight of kind of spring practice is the newcomers. I think a lot of the guys that are here on campus, we know what they kind of bring to the table when we talk about Scooter Harris, Dijon, when we talk about TJ Smith, we know what they bring. There's guys like Trey Knox, like the TQ Jacksons, that everybody really has their eyes open and ready to see what they really bring to the table.
I'm anxious to see, Devois Whaley. I think Devois has to take that senior step and really absorb some also to that leadership role on the offensive side of the football. I really feel like Trey Knox. To me, I've seen him at I saw him one day on the concourse at a Razorback game. And the kid does not look like an 18-year-old kid. This young man, I also had a chance to see Shamar Nash. These wide receivers and the physical makeup are guys that you see on the other side of the field when you go cover the University of Arkansas versus every SEC school like Alabama, Auburn, Georgia, Mississippi State. These guys are what playing against.